Just talking about entrance music there for our guests, which we might end up getting onto in a bit.
Honestly, WWE entrance music. Been looking at it for the wedding. So thinking,
Can you stop the mumbling, please, Jack?
Ah!
Oh wow, it started.
Anyway, we've got Jack Lowe here, our very first guest on The Coffee Club.
Best looking guest so far.
Yeah, best looking guest so far. We're a bit tight in here actually. We didn't think we'd fit shoulder to shoulder in
Look at
here.
the width of the man.
Yeah, no, look
The
at
bloody monster.
Look at
I'm hoping for the next guest you
Get
get
out
a
the
better
gym,
chair.
lad.
Yeah.
Well, you can get off this one if you want, mate. You don't have to be on the podcast if you've got a problem with this setup.
I don't, mate. It's an absolute pleasure to be here.
it is good to have Jack on here. Jack used to play at Bristol Rugby Club a while back. I can't remember the last day. When was the last game? Year?
I would have played 2015 to 2018, 19.
Last game was 2019. Was that before you came?
No, I was here when Jack was here, definitely. We definitely played together.
I left March 2019, so that's I'd have played till Christmas time, I reckon.
Yeah, around about that, yeah.
But yeah, you were here, and then I played with you on loan, didn't you? Played on loan.
Yeah, that was the year I was on loan here from
really?
Stour, yeah.
So I got him over because he was like, not getting game time,
Yeah, that was true, yeah.
Well, that was a good impression. I think one of the speakers.
Yeah, I didn't get much game time for Stour, so that's why we ended up coming over here. And Jack was here, so I ended up coming over to Bristol and then moved your life here. So pretty decent.
So basically, if it wasn't for me, he wouldn't be here doing this now.
Well, actually, we've got Jack to thank for this whole thing, haven't we, really?
Yeah, the whole pot. We've got Jack to thank for it. But no, Jack's had a very, very, as much as our friends or my friends and Caitlin will perhaps joke about it, your career is an interesting path for people, because if I was to go back to when we first met and perhaps said, what is Jack Lowe going to do when he grows up when he's 30 years old, I would not have said you would be a cyber nerd.
Nerd's a bit of a...
Yeah, but you are very, very sporty. So if we go back the ages, right to the very beginning.
Can I just rewind even further?
Go
When
on.
did you actually first meet the pair
Oh,
of
now
you?
this.
First meet.
But this is quite contentious because our school won a year 6 touch rugby
Yeah,
tournament.
but it's before that. So year 5, we played cricket against each other. I don't think you remember that.
No, probably not.
Yeah, it's just like a I don't know, sixes tournament. I can't remember where it was. And I was bowling, bit of slow off spin as I do, and had this troll come into bat. I was like, who the fuck is this bloke? I was like, he's not our year at school.
Yeah.
The teacher's made his way on with his hands on.
Anyway, bowled him out second ball, so I was like, yeah, he's definitely our age.
I can see why Connor's wiped that from his mind.
Yeah, I have wiped that one.
That was probably the extent of our cricketing careers, to be fair. And then yeah, year 6.
You were at Pitmaston, weren't you? At Pitmaston
was.
Primary School. I was at Lippard Grange Primary School.
Well, I started off at Purdeswell and then moved in year 2 because I used to live down Purdeswell way. Yeah, and then in year 2 moved over to Pitmaston.
Nice.
St John's, and then yeah, year 6.
That was our first real edge of competitiveness against each other, because you to this day still think I cheated.
That sounds like Connor. I'm not going to lie. I wasn't there. I've got no precursors to it, but I can definitely say
It's definitely like a pre-game tactic. They came into the tournament. They knew they couldn't spin, and they were there just
thinking on top, how are you going to win? Did we get found out?
Yeah, got banned after the first game because we started moaning about it, and they were like, "Oh yeah, you can't actually spin."
No, Liv Sheldon.
So they beat us 6-5 in tries, and then I think we got to the end of the tournament or the end of the day, and we beat you on tries scored because we were level on points.
Disappointing.
And then when we went through to sort of like, I think it's like Wire Forest tournament, we got battered.
You've been better off losing the initial.
Yeah.
But that was when we first met. Was there playing against each other, and then sort of from Hanley Castle High School, that's where it sort of kicked off.
I mean, we weren't even like friends straight off the bat. I don't think there, because was it Roy's dad put you in his form, so I wasn't even in that form either.
No.
Knew a couple of lads from Pitmaster, and there was like 5 or 6 of us that came across, but again, it's quite small. And then I think I didn't play rugby until year 8.
No.
So obviously we played football and stuff together, but yeah.
I was going to ask that. Was it friendship at first sight? But sounds like it wasn't. What about? So where's the turning point? When did you become friends? Because I always find this interesting. Because I've just before we go with it, so I was actually best man at his wedding. A friend of mine called Harry. When I first met him, he actually chose to go and sit in his car and sleep rather than spend the afternoon with me. but then I somehow ended up like best mates. But I can't put my finger on when I actually became friends with him.
I don't know. I don't think I could put. We got out as a BBS, which I think has been spoken about. Our like friendship group. It's the end of year trips. So year 7 was Lanreek.
Yeah.
I don't know whether we were actually friends there.
No.
Year 8 went to Newquay. That's when sort of like Nat and that got involved.
Yeah.
Did we do anything for year 9?
That was a French trip, wasn't it? Year 9?
No, it was year 10.
Was that year 10?
Because that's when we split off in after GCSEs.
Yeah, yeah.
Year 9, I think you got closer with the other lads because of like, was it the Hungarian trip or the Swedish trip?
Oh, the exchange.
Exchange.
Yeah.
Some loose stories, aren't
Yeah, the exchange was very, very loose. The one story I vividly remember from that was one of the lads cycling into one of the cars and knocking the number plate off. So we were at a dealership. We were driving towards we were riding around on bikes and went past the Hungarian dealership, and somehow we managed to cycle into a car and just knock the number plate off.
Did you get caught doing it or just pedal off?
Pedal off. Pedal off.
How old were you then? Yeah, it must have been sort of
13, 14, something like that. But then we sort of, in the end, we ended up always coming around to mine and going to Tesco and getting cookies and a litre bottle of Boost and playing stupid games and wrestling and doing jiu-jitsu and the blooming making the crack in time and space in my bedroom.
Well, I think so. When we moved into high school, that's when we moved out to Tiverton. And I think that's when we realised we lived like 5 minutes away from each other.
Yeah.
And literally we were outside sort of like the catchment area. So everybody else from school and all of our friends lived miles away. And obviously when you're a kid, you don't have access to a car and stuff like that all the time. So yeah, every Friday, some sort of sport, just PlayStation, rugby league.
Dust each other up in the bedroom with a jiu-jitsu and...
Cracking time and space was formed in that bedroom, yeah, wrestling on the bed. You broken the bed at mine.
Yeah.
Do you remember that, the slap?
Yeah.
Wrestling on there, so...
So Jack is, well, when he was younger, he was a world champion?
No, British.
British champion.
British. Still pretty impressive.
Yeah.
Went to the Worlds.
2007 to 2011. No, but invited. I couldn't pay for it.
Yeah. Disappointing.
Went to be in like Vegas, I think.
Bottle job.
Yeah, to bottle it.
Didn't want to fight the Brazilians.
No.
How did you get into jiu-jitsu?
Great question. I think my dad's always been into martial arts. He did kickboxing, and I think so. My parents are very short, and so I was a big kid. And so until I filled out in sort of like later years, I was always quite short. And I don't know whether they thought that I was going to get bullied or something, so they just put me into jiu-jitsu. But it wasn't sort of like the Brazilian side of things, it was the Japanese. So it's like the traditional sort of more self-defense practice as opposed to like the sport that you see now, like mixed martial arts and combat sports. So that was sort of where it took me. Obviously I like the sport aspect of things and just loads of like choking people out.
Never.
So yeah, 2007, 8, 9 and 11. They're all happening in 2010, which just got dusted up or something.
Do you miss competing in it?
Yeah, I keep saying I always want to go back. So I started at 6 and I went through all the way pretty much to, fell off a little bit 18, 19 just because you get alcohol in your system.
But it's not just 6 years old?
Yeah.
Oh. Do you know that everyone I've ever met who's done like some form of like martial arts or jiu-jitsu or judo even from like a young age, their athletic base and where they potentially can go to is unbelievable. I've never met someone who's done a martial art at a young age and then been like really weak or non-athletic. Do you know what I mean? Like, it gives you such a good... I never did it. You can look at me clearly, but I think that it's just one of those sports where it just gives you such a good platform to turn your hand to anything. Do you think that's probably maybe the case for yourself, or?
I think from a sort of like character side of things, the confidence it gives you, like it's easy to say, but everyone will say it. It doesn't push you to be egotistical and go, I can batter everybody in this place now.
I don't know about that, mate. Scrappy Lowe comes out. Scrappy dude comes out when you've got a drink.
Still control. But yeah, it's honestly just the confidence to just to go through life really, and I think that's probably the biggest thing that I've probably taken away from it as a child. Obviously, you look at the sport aspect of things and how big like the UFC has grown over recent years. That wasn't really a thing when I was a child, so there was nothing to really push to, so it couldn't really take to anywhere. You mentioned judo and other sports, sort of Olympics would have been the pinnacle for that. But that wasn't really a thing for jiu-jitsu, so it was more of just a sport. I literally, as Connor said, played cricket, played football, played rugby, literally played everything you can. And just sport mad, I suppose. But yeah, it was, I'll always be the biggest, what would be the word for it, like show her if, like, I've tried to get all her into it, and I know that she's into her dolls and stuff like that now, but even just as a basis, you look at the way the world is now, and I think to be able to handle yourself and protect yourself in any situation, and at least to have sort of like the bare bones of that, whatever that may look like, I think is key for everybody in life.
We were sat yesterday having a pint in O'Neill's in Worcester, and Jim turns around to Jack and he's like, "We've still got everyone in here, haven't we?" He went, "Yeah, that's why we haven't left yet."
It's just a fun thing the BBS boys do. Yeah, we always say we're the hardest players wherever we go, but
it's not true.
It's not
Yeah,
true.
I love that.
But yesterday was fun. We went to Worcester races yesterday.
Yeah, I've actively avoided talking to you about it. I was going to message you to see how your day went,
Yeah.
but I didn't say anything because I want to hear about it on here, so you can.
So what train we got? We got the
It
10.
was quite anticlimactic, mate.
Yeah, it was. Yeah. We got the 9 minutes past 10 train from Kiddie.
Quite busy.
Yeah, really busy. Again, ladies all dressed dressed up.
Young girls in like short dresses and high heels, and you're thinking, you're in the centre course, you're not being placed stuck in the mud.
Yeah, it wasn't good. So we got there, and then one of our mates said that Wetherspoons was too busy, which is where we were going to end up going. So we were walking down the high street, and I thought, you know what, let's go O'Neill's. I bet it's empty. It was completely empty. Managed to get a booth in there and sit in there, but again that got rammed. But I think between 11 o'clock and 1:30 had six points.
It's a dangerous game.
We
It's a slippery slope after
yeah.
that.
Oh, mate.
We missed the first race,
Yeah.
so we didn't even see the first horse race.
Did you gamble throughout the day? Did you stay in the pub and?
We had one. We stayed for 2 horse races. We had 2, but
Yeah, well, we missed the first one then.
missed the first one. Stayed for 2.
Absolutely tipping it down, mate. It's horrible.
Yeah, it was horrible. It absolutely shut it down the whole time.
So I messaged Connor the other day and I was like, mate, do I need to bring a brolly or have you got a couple of brollies? He's like, no, I've got a couple of brollies. We were panicking at like 10 o'clock yesterday before we were having to drive to the train station. Found one little black umbrella and then the other one we could get was Allers. And he was like, no, I'm not taking that.
We should have taken all this.
Yeah,
We should have taken all this.
And there was like 5 lads just hovering around this little black thing.
Oh,
Honestly,
terrible.
it was tragic.
Yeah, it was bad. So then we just went straight back to Mode, Worcester, and just watched the rugby and carried on drinking.
Yeah.
Just carried on. But one of the best stories from that whole day is you got strip searched anally.
I did, yeah. That was weird. That had those like sniffer dogs,
Oh yeah,
just random. And
likely
I
target.
just walked past thinking, honestly, I've got nothing to hide here. And dog started sniffing at my leg, and I was like, oh. He's like, mate, you've got to go over there. And I just got whisked into this like little tent, just like down the bank.
They're not
like-
security, just random.
Yeah, just a random
I mean, they didn't have any
With
badges or
dog.
anything. Yeah.
Did you check his ID?
No, I didn't drink as I did.
There's a random bloke just touched you up.
Hey, it looked official, mate. I had a high vis on, mate, so that's
It's
a
like
full
walking
mark
around
of
with a dog.
professionalism.
With security on his like little.
Yeah,
Honestly,
On
literally
his
had
arm.
like dog handlers, like a little
Oh,
attachment, mate. Honestly, and so you got whisked away. Had to obviously empty out all my pockets, take my shoes off, take my jacket off, and got frisked.
Full shebang, everything.
Full shebang, mate. Obviously didn't find anything, and then just walked off.
I walked straight
Hit it well
through.
then, Jack. Nice.
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
I walked straight through. That quiche's working well. So I walked straight through, and I was like, where has he gone? And then I was like, oh, he's been taken off. I'm like, oh no.
But do you know those search dogs? I don't know if you've ever worked with them before. So obviously I worked the doors back in the day. They used to work some. There was a DVE nights, drum bass, electro nights, but like secret locations. So like you wouldn't know where they're going or what they're going to be. They just pick a bus load of people up, take you there. But the event was like if you got picked up and taken, you couldn't then leave the event till whatever time. So if you know those sorts of events, they're quite drug heavy, aren't they? But they had loads of sniffer dogs, but they only work for like 20 minutes. So the first 20 minutes of the dog's rotation, they're catching people. But there's loads of ways around it. I don't know if you know
It's
this.
a box exercise.
Yeah, correct, mate. You just say, like, I've done this. But then the easiest way to get around it, and you can't get the smell out of it. I don't know if, well, I've not seen it, but I've been told that's how people do it, is that when they go to festivals, you know, like you get your spices, you know, for like the kitchen cooking. If you put whatever you've got in one of those empty spice glass bottles, tighten that up, the dogs won't sniff it. They can't get it.
Oh, because they don't know what it is.
Yeah, they just can't smell through those little things.
Through the vial.
Yeah.
Mental.
It's a little tip and trick there.
Yeah, for all the drug takers out there, you will get caught.
Jonah said.
The dogs work for 20 hours.
Jonah said.
As I'm in court, I was like, Jonah said.
Oh, that's what he said. He said. But that's the first time we've gone to the races since, we wanted to say 2019. When did you go? So Jack actually, when you left school, you went into the RAF when you left school. So we'll go into that backstory, and then we'll circle back round to how we ended up, where we ended up in 2019. Oh,
broke the chair.
Big
Didn't realise
ring
there's a
busted.
weight-
Busted in
didn't
the
realise
chair.
there's a weight limit on this chair.
So why did you go into the RAF?
Basically, because I failed my A levels.
Why was that?
Just got obsessed with table football. So let's get into this.
So
let's get into this.
Nice
then.
colour.
Yeah,
That.
yeah,
Yeah,
good,
I
isn't
like that.
Okay.
Good,
I've
good.
been set up for failure already. Thank you, mate.
Don't you worry, mate. It's all for the
So
views,
yeah,
all for the
obviously,
views.
just I'm not the most academic person. I can't sit there and revise, and so I just get bored. So I just sort of coast. Did okay in GCSEs, like nothing too major. Went into my A levels. I wanted to do something. I think my parents were like, "Oh, are you sure you want to do this? And you sure you want to do that?" And put a bit of cast of doubt. So I ended up doing all 3 sciences and French as my first year of A levels, and obviously a bit of knowledge.
And if you know Jack Lowe, that is not
Yeah.
something that
You
want
barely
to do.
speak English, pal.
Exactly. Yeah,
Bonjour.
exactly. Ça va? And that's the extent of it. So, yeah, didn't really set myself up for success in that first year, but I just didn't still bother to revise, thinking it was easy. Well, I didn't think it was easy, but I just couldn't be bothered to revise. But yeah, so we had like a sixth form centre as part of the school. It was like its separate, like old building, and obviously you go for the first time where you have like a packed schedule and like 5 lessons a day, and it drops off in A levels. So you had like 3 periods where you meant to revise and do homework. Never did. But yeah, there was a football table, and it cost 20p to play, and I just got obsessed, me and Rory, but Rory still smashed his A levels, which is annoying.
He's done you there, mate. He's done you dirty.
Mate, he was always gonna smash it. But yeah, so we just started smashing that every 3 periods. I can't remember where I worked. I think I worked at Next at the time, and all of my money literally went on that. Roy even bought his own table at one point because the table in the sixth form centre was an olden version of the one you get in tournaments. So he bought a new one so we could actually practice properly. Went to our first tournament in Bath, like a social club.
How did you find out about
So-
football tournaments?
Well, so the thing is, there's a real old bloke. I can't remember what his name was, and he used to come and service the machine in the sixth form centre.
It's so rare.
Like once a month,
really rare.
and he saw us playing. He's like, "Oh, you boys are pretty good. Have you ever thought about going to a tournament?"
You boys are good.
So strange.
Yeah. And he's like, "Oh, there's a tournament in Bath in a couple of weeks," and we're like, "Yeah, we'll give it a go." Got the train down, got battered, learned a lot there, and then yeah, that's where it sort of like kicked off. Got ranked in the world, and yeah, got
Ranked in the world.
That's unbelievable.
Got 4 U's my first A levels, so I had to go into a meeting with Mr. Scanlan. And he was like, "What's going on?" I was like, "Take football." He's like, I think you're banned from that now. Obviously, my dad didn't speak to me for a good few months after that, so that was always good. And then I was like, I don't really want to do 3 sciences and French anymore, so I changed and I did ICT, ironic, and then I did PE or sport, they called it then, psychology and chemistry still. I still did chemistry because I like chemistry, although I wasn't very good at it. And then I dropped ICT because I really hate computers.
It's so
Within the
strange.
first month, I was like, I just want to focus on 3 subjects because you did 4 and then you would drop 1,
Yeah.
or you would worst 1. I was like, it's pointless doing this. So yeah, so I retook the year. Thankfully, I wasn't alone. There's a few BBS men that did that as well.
Biggest man.
Yeah, BBS men. Won't name their names. So yeah, and then I did okay. I think I got B, C, D in the end. And then I was gonna go to uni and do like policing and criminology. Because I always wanted to be a copper. Don't know why. I must have watched like The Bill when I was a kid or something and really liked it.
The Bill's a good programme.
Great program.
It is.
And yeah, I think my dad was like, "You don't really want to go." I think I was going to go to Glamorgan because you were at Cardiff Met at the
Yeah,
time.
I
I
was
was
at
going to
Cardiff
place, and then the rugby was pretty decent.
I think I might have said to you that I went to USW, wasn't it, in Glamorgan, and said that their stuff was actually pretty good there. So I think that was potentially where you're going to go to do it.
Yeah.
I'd love to see your application, just like terrible grades, but world champion table football, world champion jiu-jitsu. Who the fuck is this weird bloke?
So that's the thing. So I applied for like 5 universities. I can't remember which one all of them were, but got 5 offers, got 5 accepted.
It's better than bloody Duke of Edinburgh. Makes you
Yeah.
stand out, doesn't it?
Yeah. It's all right now.
Yeah, I did that.
I've got a question then.
Go on.
Back to the foosball, because it isn't just as simple as like get into it because a lot of people haven't done it properly, and I'm pretty sure me and Connor have played. He was like trying to enforce the proper rules where you can't spin it round and and also, but the wrist action for that and how to even whip it.
So the first thing we had grips. So we would
just
have
for the
grips.
people who haven't watched this, look at the size of fucking Lewis forearms.
Yeah,
See where it's from.
As a teenager. But so on the handles you'd have grips. You know, like obviously boxers like wrap their hands. We would wrap them with grips. And what we do is, so this is why the versions of the foosball table were key. So the old one we had were like blocked feet, which you'd probably be familiar with. But the other ones, the new ones, are curved. So what you'd be able to do is you go to the top where the strikers were, and you'd be able to trap the ball underneath their foot. And what you do is you'd have the ball, have the handle on the wrist, and you flip it like that. And so it'd only go like 300 degrees as opposed to 360, and you get like.
So you can't go all the way around. You get as close to.
So that's how you generate power. So you literally just used to pull and then come up.
What's the tactic? As in, like, because everyone who plays it right, it's just like you literally, if you don't know how to play. But for me, it's just get to the table, try and whack it as hard as I can towards goal. But there's obviously
you can pass it between the players.
So that wouldn't work.
So when you're in the midfield, you try and bring the ball to the closest to you, and you just have to pass it round because then they wouldn't be able to collect it in the midfield. And so you just then get it to the striker, and then you'd be able to pass it between yourself, and then just.
So could you pass between the players on the little slots? So say you've got like there's your line. You've got 1, 2, 3, 4 in the midfield. Yeah. Is it 4 in the midfield?
5.
5 in the midfield. Sorry, man. So you've got 5, but you
can
pass
2-5-3 formation.
Could you pass it from like 1 to 3? 1 to 2.
You just move around.
That's nuts. That is.
Yeah. Mad.
That's nuts. We're gonna have to go and like do some behind the scenes, some BTS stuff. We'll go and play table football.
Go and play table
that football. Is to me that's unbelievable. That's so good.
It is good. Every time I've played table football against you, I've literally been like, "What the fuck is going on?"
That's so unique. It's such a niche thing to get into. It's such an interesting to be.
But I only ever played in defence, and Rory played up top. That's how still of a niche it is.
So when you say again you were ranked as well, where did you go to like? Well, I can't remember if I've got too excited. I can't remember if you even said it. Did you go to like an international tournament or
not an international?
How does the ranking system work for that?
It's if you win a game, you get points, and the points go to your ranking. I think we're only like 360 something in the world. We only did like 2 tournaments. I think.
That's still pretty good.
Yeah, I mean there were whispers we were going to go to France and play, but I think we bowled it in the end.
Because you need to splash your A-levels.
I think my A-levels were inundated by that.
A-levels got in the way?
Yeah.
A-levels got in the way?
Had to take over. But yeah, so obviously did all of that through sixth form and A-levels, and then got accepted, and literally I had everything down to go to uni. Accommodation was booked, and I think it got to August, and I was just like, my dad was like, you don't really want to go. I was like, what are you going for? I was like, play rugby, drink a little bit, meet new people. He's like, why don't you go? Why do you really want the debt for that?
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, fair enough. And he's like, let's go to the careers office. So we went down to Gloucester, because I think that's where he worked. So he took me there, had a chat, and I was like, yeah, sounds alright. They just literally sold the dream of you can travel, you can play a bit of sport, and you can still be a copper. And I was like, oh, okay. So I applied, took about 18 months to get in, so during that time I was a Tesco delivery driver, which is always fun.
You love that?
I do love that, yeah, at Warnden. And yeah, just went into the RAF, went in as a copper, realised did no work, said to myself I would never actually want to go go to Cityville, because they were far too busy and didn't get paid well. And then just got really lucky. I was at Cosford, which is where obviously then started to play for Bridge North. So thanks to Adam Gittings, I'll give him a little shout out. He was the one that got me down.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. Because I've just got really lucky from where I was. So one of the head coaches for the police team when I was in training, he was like, "Oh, you play rugby," and I played a sevens tournament just before I left and passed training. Then like a couple of weeks later, he was like, "Oh, we've got Nuki sevens in a couple of weeks. Why don't you come down?" So I was like, "Yeah, absolutely." Went down for the weekends. Like, it was like an introduction to like life in the military. We just got boozy for like 3 days, played a little bit of rugby, met a load of good lads, and then Gitz was like, "Where you based now?" I was like, "Oh, Cosford." He's like, "Oh, that's like my neck of woods. Go play for Bridge North." So I went down at literally. So I think I graduated in June. So obviously straight down into pre-season. And they were playing touch, and I think it was Techers actually that first introduced me to everybody.
I can't believe you didn't leave the club that fucking
point. Yeah. He was actually really friendly back in the day, so no, he's a good lad. So he introduced me to everybody, and then obviously I think that's when Lou Williams and Jord first came to the club. That was their first season, so we had a real good team. They just moved up to level 5, sorry. And you had all the old boys, but then some of the new boys coming in. Obviously, they had back-to-back promotions, so they're on a high. Yeah, and as you both know, it's a real good club to be part of. And I've never found anything since. So yeah, I think that's why I hung up my boots really.
Yeah. But again, going back to the RAF rugby, you've been to some unbelievable places with RAF rugby and RAF sevens. Thinking about some of the trips that you mentioned to me, going to Stampede sevens in Canada to go to Calgary, that would have been fantastic. What was your highlight? What was your rugby RAF highlight?
There's so many, like I said. It's got to be getting capped for the RAF first team. And I didn't get capped until 2022, I think. So I thought I was going to get it in 2020, and then COVID hit, and I literally got a call whilst I was at Cheltenham Races for Gold Cup week saying you've made the I think 30-man squad. I was like, see you next week. I was like, cool, this is my time. I'm going to get capped here. Then COVID hit, obviously whitewashed that season, whitewashed 2021, and then got lucky with a couple of injuries for some of the boys in 2022. And managed to come off the bench against the Army at Kingsholm. So I'd probably say that was my highlight, because that was probably the hardest graph that I had to endure for years and years and years to actually get there. I got really lucky, so I played combined service under 23, so my first season, played at Twickenham, and everyone will think, and I know you said it yourself, playing at Twickenham should be the pinnacle.
Yeah.
But I didn't find that as hard to get into than the actual RAF first team.
Yeah, it's interesting that, because basically, from your perspective, your favourite game is not necessarily where you played the game at or the location that you played the game, but the journey that it took you on.
Yeah.
Which is quite interesting, because a lot of people will go their favourite game will be Twickenham, playing at Twickenham, playing there. I think Frankie asked me that yesterday actually.
Yeah.
He said, Con, you must have played with great grounds. He said, you played at Twickenham last year, and I said, yeah, I played at Twickenham. I said, wasn't my favourite game. I said, we were in and out, in the changing rooms for 10 minutes. Go and warm up, play your game, back in the changing room, back out. I could have been anywhere. It was great to play at Twickenham, but actually the story behind getting there isn't your favourite game, as it were. What would you go for, Jonah? Was your favourite game?
I don't know. It's a tough one again. I played at Twickenham as well, but this is very similar. I lost at Twickenham, so
I've lost at Twickenham as well. I think that's why it's not.
I lost at Twickenham as well. High five.
So yeah, I don't, that's a tough one actually. Probably there's some for me playing and getting to the first team was a massive thing for me. My dad had gone to Loughborough University, and he sort of put me in that direction to go there. And to say you play at the first team at university like that is pretty incredible for me. But honestly, some of my best games ever. Actually, my first season here, winning the North Mids Cup Originals up there.
Yeah.
Just because it was reinvented my rugby career coming here. I enjoyed being around the club, and the club had never done that. And it was a way of giving back to the club. So what it meant to the club as well, an award.
You were there for that, wasn't it, as well?
Maybe.
I think
won something at DK.
Yeah, you were there.
I think you were there.
See, my most memorable, although he doesn't even know who was there. See a different meaning.
It's all a blur, mate.
How does that selection process for the RAF work? And is it you play regional stuff? Do you have to go to a camp? Is it trials out? I've got no idea. But
Yeah, I mean, in theory, so you'd have station level, so everyone played there, and you'd have a station cup. Then you'd have divisionals, so North, East, South, and West, and then that would feed into they had something called Hawks or A team or academy. So you'd have a second sort of development team, and then you'd have the senior team. And there is that pathway in theory, but station rugby was very hit and miss. Some of the big stations, they used to play a lot. Some of the smaller ones couldn't get a team out, so they didn't bother. Divisionals, again, never really got off the ground. So you play academy and senior team. And I suppose, again, it's just knowing the right people. And I played under 23s as well, which probably helped. So like I said, so I got access to, they had some summer camps. And again, that summer camp happened literally probably 3 weeks. I think it was after Newquay. So you get your face in there, and you get your foot into the door. The coach's setup is pretty similar. They're all very close. Some people say it's quite cliquey. I think in the senior team it was there's a lot of old boys there that have been playing around for years, and I think in 2015 was the first time they'd won it in like 20, maybe 30 years in terms of the inter-services. So it's difficult to sort of crack into that. So I played academies and then 23s for a good few years, and then I think there was a bit of a change of the guard, and that's when I started getting involved into the sort of senior setup from like 2018, 2019. And again, I think those lads that I played with and got real like good strong friendship groups with are lads that played sevens as well, and that again that builds something else, and you always have that same group of people that play all sort of like formats of the game. But yeah, I think I just got lucky. I think the head coach when I got selected and stuff like that was also a copper, so I don't know whether that played a bit of an aspect. I'm not too sure how many police actually have been capped for the first team. I think that'd be a quite good stat to find out. So I think I just got lucky, mate. I was never going to be. It's a really good standard, and obviously we've got boys that play professional. We've got boys that play sort of like
Nat 1,
yeah, Nat 2. And so, I think you boys have highlighted it on previous pods. You got to know your role within a club, right? Mm. And I knew that I was never going to be the shining star of the first team. So I just knew I had to sort of like grizz away, be a good sort of like squad player, and try and get like in the 23 for match day. And like I said, I managed to do that for the 2022 season. And yeah, just help boys out as much as you can. I suppose that goes a long way.
I think you're underplaying your role in that squad there, probably. Quite a modest bloke that you are.
Nah, I don't think so. Those boys were really good. I think it's just about self-awareness, and I think as you get older, like I think I did go into, I think because I saw the police standard, and no disrespect to the police boys, but the standard of rugby wasn't the highest, and I think I went there and I had a bit of a chip on my shoulder because I had that like Newquay tournament stuff like that and played really well. And then I played under 23s, and again, I don't think the standard was amazing when I played. So again, I had that chip on my shoulder, and I think over those a couple of years when I tried to get into the first team, I think it got knocked down and knocked out of me in training a few times, as to be expected by some of the older boys. And yeah, I think you just, like I said, over the years you just have that self-awareness. I'm happy with it, mate. Like I'm not trying to knock myself down. It's just
an incredible achievement.
I completely agree. Like no one can ever take it away from me, can they?
Once you're in the fold, so once you've made the squad there, so again, it's nowhere near the same. Obviously, me and Con, fortunate to play for the England Fire Service, but just in terms of your time away from work and how seriously they take the RAF stuff. So like for the England Fire Service, they don't get a chance due to work with, but they just come together on match, they play, and that's it. But the police boys, when we played them, they were like a training camp for like 2 weeks prior to that. You think about what was it like with the RAF? So once you're in that squad, you get leave from work to go and do that for a couple of weeks, so how does it work?
It's classed as a duty, so you do get it as sort of like it's work basically. So you get that time off during the week. So it is very fortunate in that aspect. So like I said, so that under 23 season is was it like September to November, and then you have the under 23 in services, and then that should be a feeder if they're good enough for lads to go into either the development side or the first team. And so the first team in the academy set up, they play their seasons January through to April or May, and then April, May is where you have your inter-services. So you have like 4 or 5 different warm-up games, and for each of those warm-up games you used to have like a week off. I say week, it's like Monday to Thursday, so you'd have Monday, Tuesday as a training camp, Wednesday evening you'd normally have like a fixture, which would be like your fire, police. We used to play Cambridge Uni, Oxford Uni, Chinner up in that one. And that would just change a little bit, and then that would go into your inter-services, like I said. So you do those like sort of warm-up fixtures, and then they whittle down the squad to like 30 for inter-services, and then it would be like a 5-week block. So literally whole of March and a little bit of April you'd have off.
That's a full-on process, isn't
full
it?
Season, isn't it?
Season. You talk about that journey towards it, how hard that
It's a
system
slog.
is tough.
The first couple of weeks is
going,
literally pure S&C. And
wow.
pure careers like full Bosch, and then we'd have a fixture against the French Air Force every year around that time, and we'd alternate. So we'd either have one at home. So I think when I first played them, we played at the Stonex or Alliance Stadium for wherever the Saracens are calling their stadium these days. So we played them there, and then like the year after we played them in Bordeaux. And so obviously that again, that's
there was a big scrap one year, wasn't there?
That was the Navy.
I was at the Navy. Do you remember seeing that?
Over in the French rugby system is just rife with scrapping. They just love it.
So yes, obviously we play the French Air Force, but then the Army and the Navy both play their French counterparts as well every year. So, and they alternate. So
As in the same sort of time, so it's like
Yeah,
a
yeah,
big
so-
like sort of services event.
yeah, so the services. So for service rugby, they'll always have that block off.
Cool.
And to be fair, they'll normally play the same sort of similar warm-up games. So you'll always play like British Police at Starbridge, for as an example. And they'll always play there, and then they obviously play a few different teams. And yeah, so you'd have that 5-week block, obviously that game in the middle, and then you'd have a fixture against the Army first, and then you'd have another week off, and then you'd have another fixture against the Navy. But those fixtures will be played on a Saturday as opposed to a Wednesday, which we normally have. And obviously they tried to grow it, so when I first came into service, they had the game at like RAF Holton, and it was on a Wednesday afternoon, and it was big, and everyone would come down and watch it. And they wanted to grow it commercially, so that's when they started being to the stadium. So I think, obviously playing at Kingsholm this year, obviously everyone's aware of like the Army Navy game at Twickenham. Tried to play, I think they played at Franklin's Gardens this year, and they played at Quinn Stadium before. Ealing I played at. So they're trying to grow it. They're getting a few thousand, but obviously it can be a little bit bigger, and it's never going to be a sellout like the Army Navy, sadly. But yeah, like I said, that's the pinnacle for me. I think just because of the time it takes and the graft, and you can kind of understand how long that journey is.
Get it?
Circling back to what I was going to eventually get onto with the RAF time, there was a time where you went away and you were stationed for a while in what was it called? What's the place called?
Minad.
Midad. And you were stationed there for a while, and you got properly.
I don't know whether or not, so I'm sure it's not.
You definitely, I don't know, was it? But you got properly jacked up.
Yeah, I mean, so obviously in the Middle East, it's a dry country, so there's no alcohol there. So obviously it's always a good start, isn't it?
Yeah.
But yeah, so I did. I think my main role was air transport security. So when you go to the airport and you've got people scanning your bags, we'd have one of those systems, and for lads that were coming in and out, because they used it as a bit of a middle ground to then go to other places in the area. I'll think of that what you will, where they're going to be going. But yeah, so literally there was only sort of like a few flights. I think there's 7 flights a week.
Yeah.
And then other than that, we do a bit of police work, a bit of documentation, that sort of thing. So I got to go to the gym twice a day. Like I said, the canteen that they had, it's obviously free food because obviously you're deployed, and the chefs were like, mate, you'd have a field day, mate. You'd love it.
Yeah.
But so I
If
literally
I wouldn't end up like you in better shape, mate. I'd just be
and a lot of
jam of
people
the
do.
hook rolling round, mate.
They had like it, so I had like eggs on toast every morning, and then in lunchtime they have like a wrap bar, and they'd fill this wrap, and it was absolutely huge, and you could have anything you want in it. And then in the evening, you literally just like, I think I just tried to cut carb and just had like loads of meat plates and a load of salad. There's a couple of ice cream. There's like a little ice cream dump there. That was a bit of that's where it got me.
Are all the boys into? You said some of them obviously are, but a lot. Is the culture there? A lot of the boys into their training, lifting, and does that help? Or you just set in your way to get on trying to say?
Yeah, I mean, I got lucky. So one of the lads that I roomed with, he was big into the gym. So we just sort of trained together, and you'd finish at like 3 o'clock and go to the gym at 3, and you'd go to the gym at like 9 o'clock in the morning. So your day was sort of like 10 till 2, 10 till 3. So it's not a bad day when you're out there.
Mental.
Obviously the sun's out as well, so we'd work 6 days a week, and then our Saturday would be our day off, because it would be Friday and Saturday's their weekend over there. So Saturday would be our day off, and obviously it's I went November through to March, so it's only like 30 degrees, so it's actually manageable. So yeah, just like getting a tan for 4 months.
Class.
Yeah. But you got in ridiculous nick, and I remember you came back. So circling back to the races, you came back in 2019 in the best shape I've ever seen you in, and we were at Worcester races in 2019, and you weren't drinking, which was really offensive to all the BBS lads. So we ended up, after the races, we were going to go out afterwards, and we ended up coming back to my place in Droitwich. Now my place in Droitwich was very entertainment-based, boozy place that we had in Droitwich. And we had a island bar in the middle, didn't we? That we ended up playing beer pong, and we always play beer pong there. I'd never ever beaten Jack at a game of beer pong, right? And he was being bored and not drinking. So I said to him, right, if I beat you in a game of beer pong, that Stella can, the keg, that is there, you just got to see that off, finish it. He went, yeah, fine, because you never beat him at beer pong. So I beat him at beer pong.
There's that chip on my shoulder.
And then
Too competitive.
this is what happened. Oh no.
If you've never seen the film Old School, now's the time. That's my Will Ferrell.
So that's from Will Ferrell in Old School. Every time he drinks, he then just drinks to excess. And he takes all the clothes off and goes drinking around the quad. But Jack was on a bit of a keg. And that was last time we were at the race in 2019. But again, thinking about drinking culture and all that lot, we just forced you to drink that.
So that's okay.
I've never stopped drinking since.
I've never stopped drinking since. Never stopped drinking since. But no, I think the RAF career that you had was outstanding. I've had a few sevens games for the RAF as well. I think in a few sevens
Yeah, I
tournaments.
can't remember where that one was actually.
Fairford?
Okay.
Or I can't remember
Don't
where.
remember that one.
No, I don't.
I remember it's the Hurricanes fixture, isn't it?
Yeah. But I managed to get a couple of games with it. I think
And
there's.
he went to try and steal all the stash.
I can imagine him running around, grabbing stuff in his bag.
Oh, Jack, can I have some stash, man?
I didn't even have any stash at that point.
No, you didn't have any stash. No, so you didn't manage to get it going anyway. And then in that time, you sort of deleted social media.
Well, yeah, it's for that tour.
So for that tour, Jack sort of deleted social media and sort of went off grid a little bit.
But his digital footprint is tiny. So do you know this? So prior to this, I knew you were coming on. I was
Tried to do some background.
I did, mate. Yeah. So I chat GPT did. And there is
That's
nothing.
so lazy.
Improvise, adapt, overcome.
Yeah, good.
Work smarter, not harder. I was like,
Good.
I'm not going to spend hours trawling through the internet. So I was like, what can you tell me about Jack? So I typed your name in, and then loads of random people came up, and I was like, well, can you tell me about the Jack Lowe that played for Bridgnorth Rugby Club? So then it had like a little bit on there about you playing for Bridgnorth. I was like, right, this is the right guy. Can you just give me information about him in general? But there's like, your digital footprint is tiny. And I don't know if you deliberately wiped stuff off or just not got to put friends on there, but I just couldn't find anything about you on the
It's nothing
internet.
on purpose, man. I'm just a boring bloke. I can't be found. But no, I literally got rid of it for that tour. And then just came back, and I wasn't too fussed about it. Like, I was never somebody that sort of posted every day, like posted a few pictures if the boys would get together and stuff like that. But yeah, I wasn't really that arsed about it. And so then I came back and just went, you know what, I don't even miss it. So I don't bother
Were
wasting
you
time.
instructed to delete it for that tour?
It was
Did you do it by
advised.
choice?
It was advised just because of the location that we were in. And then I've got to be careful now. During that tour, I had to deviate from the sort of air transport work that I was doing. I had to do some more physical security based stuff a little bit down the road, and that was for sort of like 2 months out of the 4, and that was really good. Something slightly different, but yeah, that was quite high profile in terms of the repercussions and the implications that could have fallen out from that. I can't go into too much detail around that, sadly, which it's not exciting. It's just one of those clearance things. Yeah. But yeah, so I think just like I said, it wasn't something that ever really fazed me to get rid of. I just thought I'd just play the game and get rid of it, and then like I said, just couldn't be asked to get it back, and still to this day don't have it.
You say that, but you have got an account.
It's got a ghost account.
No.
The Voldemort.
Yeah, so
Oh,
have you
I've
seen
seen
this?
that. So
I don't even have access to that. It's not still up.
Yeah,
it is. It's this. I'll tell you why I know it's stood up, because obviously I'm terrible with social media as well. We'll come back to it in a minute, but on the podcast account, obviously me and Connor both got access to this, and then there was one day where I was like, why the hell's Voldemort like 20 videos? Like, who on earth is this? It's like, Connor, what on earth is this? Why don't you?
So me and Caitlin, obviously you came and lived with us for a while. You lived with us months at a time, in between sort of being on RAF, being on base. You came to stay with us, and we're like a extended family of one another, I suppose. You're probably the third wheel to our family, and fourth wheel
Caitlin's
now.
the third wheel.
Yeah, Caitlin's the third wheel. Yeah,
She infiltrated that.
yeah, she did. But so when you sort of went off grid on social media, we didn't really like that. So what we decided to do was, because you went off grid and went off social media, we called you the Dark Lord, and the Dark Lord is Voldemort. So what we'd do is every single photo that you would be in, the main account one, we would superimpose Lord Voldemort's face onto your face.
Yeah, I love that.
So the
It's
main
very
one,
creative. I'm a big fan of Harry Potter, so
yeah, big fans. Yeah, so that is the Lord Voldemort account.
Here's a question for you, back to social media stuff, because my background in Connor will tell you I'm terrible with social media. As in, like, I never really post. I'm not shy about putting stuff on there. I just don't really do it. And like, I know I need to be better for the podcast stuff. I just don't like sharing stuff. I don't know. I just sort of keep to myself. But the biggest issue I have is that I'd love to delete it. Obviously, I won't do it now because we need it for a bit of publicity and stuff. But that fear of missing out on stuff. Do you get that? Or do you just not bother? Do you like you don't see people posting, don't see stuff. We just like, I didn't need it for that amount of time. I've come back. I'm enjoying my life. If I'm talking to everyone I need to, I don't need it.
it's a great point. When I first did it, and I suppose now that I've left the RAF, I do a little bit more because I do miss those milestones. I'll speak to somebody who's like spoken to another lad, and he'll be like, oh, he's had a kid and he's been married and he's got engaged. And I'm like, Jesus Christ. And it's obviously a bit of a shock because I'm just literally missing chunks of people's lives, and I suppose for that aspect of things it's nice, but then like you said, if they were that good of a friend, or like if you were a bit more proactive about it, you'd speak to them anyway.
Correct.
And so I think once I got sort of that mindset, I realised you can't catch up with everybody, so I'm much more content just to keep my sort of circle small, and just get on with my life, I suppose.
Have you thought about getting it back to sort of, you're in cyber now and you're trying to go into that sort of world? You've got LinkedIn, obviously.
Yeah.
You've got a LinkedIn account, but have you thought about getting social media back to promote yourself a little bit? As in, we're using it for the coffee club to promote our coffee club and promote our brand a little bit, but have you ever thought about getting it back to promote yourself again? Or is that something that doesn't really fly in the cyber world?
It does. In any world, I think these days it's all about building a brand, isn't it? It doesn't matter whether it's part of sort of like a company, personal thing. It's huge, and there are aspects, and I see a lot of people on LinkedIn that do sort of promote themselves in a way. Like my old boss, he does podcasts around cybersecurity and gets involved and becomes a guest on those. So that's something sort of that does intrigue me, and I'd love to go and be a cyber nerd and speak about some cyber stuff one day to people. But I don't think I've got the energy to sort of get it back and promote myself. I wouldn't even know where to begin. There's all these kids coming through nowadays trying to be influencers, and it just doesn't excite me one bit. So I'd rather just stay under the radar, work hard, and try and grow from that. It's a very small market, the cyber world.
Could we flesh out your life in the cyber world? Because obviously people, I don't know if you can say, I don't know, I don't really know exactly what you're doing currently, but there's probably stuff in there. Good place to start. But obviously a lot of that is cloak and daggers and shrouds over everything in the cyber world, and people can say what they're doing or not doing, or if they're working undercover. But I don't know if you can just give us a bit of and the listeners a bit of a background in your entry to that.
Why did you become a nerd?
Yeah, I don't know. Still to this day, I don't know. No, so I think again, just right place, right time. So I got promoted, and I think that's the theme of my life, is I just follow my feet at the right time. So I got promoted, and then in the police, when you promote, that's when you get to specialise. So when you first go in, you either have to be sort of general policing duties, which is just like general body. You can be air transport security, or you can be a dog handler. And then once you promote, then it opens up a whole other field. So you can be sort of serious investigations, cyber, information security, like flying complaints if you want to. So there's a wide array of sort of different disciplines within the police once you promote. So I promoted, and then there was an availability in cyber, and I just thought to myself, it's going to be the next big thing. So sort of jumped at it, had to do an interview process, which was the only one that you had to do an interview process for. And I rocked up, and he was like, oh, do you know this operating system? No. He's like, have you got exposure to this? No. And honestly, still to this day, I don't know how I passed that interview. Because I knew nothing about computers. I just about to be able to log on.
It was such at the time of you going into cyber was such a U-turn with what you would have done in the past. It was so weird to see you jump that way, but it's obviously something that you thought about because you wanted to follow the trend of what was happening in the world, or why. I've never actually delved into why you chose to go into cyber? Because obviously, as you just
Good
said,
choice though.
yeah, as you just said,
Picked it right.
you knew nothing, and not one single bit really about cyber. What made you decide it?
I think so. When I first joined the Air Force, and like I said, my first 4 years when I was at Cosford, I was just doing policing duties, but I was part of this sort of like contingency force. So I was flying all around the world, and then when I was back, I was just playing rugby and, like I said, going tours, living the dream in that aspect of things. So I was like, right, I'm going to be a lifer. I'm going to do this for sort of 22 years, and then I'll worry about another career after that. And I think I got to a stage where I was like, I don't actually have a trade here. So I knew that there was a lot of other people that would leave the Air Force and then go be a city copper, and I was like, definitely don't want to do that. And there was a few people that doing sort of like information security and that aspect of things, so like what GITS does now in terms of like risk audits and stuff, and that's a big market. And then I realised I didn't actually have a trade, where I was playing rugby with a lot of lads that were like engineers by background, and then they would leave and they would get a good wage by going working at like an airport and on the airplanes and stuff. So I thought, I actually don't have anything to fall back on here, so if shit went sideways or I'd have to leave for some reason, I don't know what to do with myself. So that's why I sort of picked cyber. I was trying to think in it ahead. Obviously it's a growing trend, but also it's going to give me a trade, and I was very fortunate that when I did move to Caution where I worked, I got like a silly amount of budget for training and certifications, and that's pretty much set me up. So in terms of experience, it didn't really give me too much, because it was all very, I mean, we were quite secure, surprisingly, for the Air Force. And so we didn't really have too many operations and projects that we dealt with from an investigation standpoint to actually get that real world experience. And ultimately, that's why I left. But yeah, in terms of certifications and training, my CV's flooded, and everywhere I go now, people are like, how have you managed to get all of these? Because they're globally recognised. So yeah, again, falling on my feet with all of that, managed to pass those exams. And yeah, I suppose that's where I've gone to from it.
Was it hard work when you took that first sort of step into that cyber world? Are the qualifications hard to get into? Is it quite a lot of background knowledge and a lot of reading before you do the course, or is it literally they can drip feed it to you and you just quite naturally good at it?
Oh, I'm not naturally good at it at all. But the learning was literally like a steep hill. But this is the thing. So I went in, when we talked cybersecurity, is obviously, again, it's a very broad subject matter, and I'm trying not to boil all of it. But I was in the like niche discipline of digital forensics and incident response. So that's very much reactive post-incident.
It's not boring, mate.
Stuff.
Although off camera, I'm sure we tell you every time we it's properly boring. It's actually not boring.
I started thinking about it yesterday, and Frankie started to yawn loudly. Just as I was working
every time.
And the irony is, he's going into a cybersecurity role when he leaves the Marines. So yeah, exactly. So I do digital forensics, and then even within that, there's different. So the course is done. So we do sort of like host based. So that's sort of like your laptops and your computers and desktops and stuff like that. That was what we call host based. And then you have network forensics, and then you have mobile phone forensics. So there's different disciplines, and you can get sort of like a broad understanding of everything. But each obviously operating system is going to differ, and different type of forensics that you do. So yeah, it was a massive steep learning curve, and I do like a 6-day really intensive course. Know nothing about these, like whatever the course content is, and then I'd have 4 months to prepare for an exam, and then I'd have to get like a minimum pass rate for an exam, and they were always really sweaty. But they're, like I said, those are the courses that are really good on my CV, so got really fortunate. But again, like I said, it's either two ways. When you speak to a lot of military people, they have all the certification, but they don't have that real world like knowledge of it. Whereas some of these people that did these courses, it was more of a tick in the box because they do it in their day-to-day life. So their knowledge was up here, and they almost did it as like a knowledge check, just to get like that tick in the box and that recognition, I suppose, as a certification itself. So yeah, so I just got really lucky. Obviously, put in a lot of hard work in terms of getting that, but needed to. And still, even when I did those courses, that, like I said, there's that expectation that you know what you're talking about, and I still did it because I couldn't apply it to anything. So I think it got to a stage where I needed to move on, so that's why I left, to then get that real world experience. And then so literally only over the last 18 months when I was in the private sector is when I actually able to apply that knowledge, and even then it was slightly different because you don't do sort of like everything you get taught in the course. But yeah, I learnt loads, and then just out of curiosity more than anything, and tried to just, I think a lot of it's just problem solving. There's a lot of issues within cybersecurity, and if you can fix those, then you're on onto a winner really, because everyone knows stuff. It's just nothing goes by the book, so you've got to troubleshoot everything, and it's how much patience and creativity you can try to fix a problem.
Do you find a lot of people, this is a bit loadly, but do you find a lot of people that are going into it are from our generation now and our age, not a lot of the older generation? Because I've done 1 day of cybersecurity, so we did this SRMC course, so it's for risk management consultancy, and as part of that they had like one of the days was a cybersecurity day, so someone came in and did a talk about it all day long about it, and then we had like an exercise at the end of the day where we got given a threat to then manage and deal with and see how we did it. But in that room, so I was absolutely probably the most underqualified person in that room. You got people in there who are like, a lot of them are like special forces, come to the back end of their career and then wanting civic qualifications to then go and do it. So, but the ones that were like, let's say like 40, pushing 50 odd years old, despite having loads of real world experience, were terrible they to do with computers and cyber stuff. So actually I found myself pretty confident compared to a lot of them. I was able to turn my hand to it quite quickly, but I don't know what it's like in the real world. Is it like the younger generation, because they're like little whizzes with it, or is it, or do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah,
I
get it.
word that.
I think what you're trying to say is we've grown up with technology.
So yeah, right,
and obviously with the older generation they haven't.
Yeah.
So it's very much trying to then play catch up. So I don't know. I feel like I'm in this like little bridge where we've grown up with technology, but the younger generation coming through are absolute wizards. But they're really good on the technical side of things, but they're not very confident on the soft skill aspect of things.
Yeah.
And I think people just think cyber, they think you can just sit in a dark room and just play around on your computer, yeah. But there's so much client interaction because you've got people, you've got companies that are experiencing these cyber attacks, and sometimes it's their own business.
Yeah.
So you've got to have that empathetic side of you, you've got to have that awareness, and not everybody that has literally spent, I suppose, their childhood growing up on computers, they either don't want that soft skill experience, or they're not very good at it. And so I think I'm in that bridge bit where I've got all the soft skills from the military side of things and being a copper and having to speak to people like from different countries, different backgrounds, etc., and then I'm trying to build up that technical background so that when we're talking about these things, I can really explain it in a way that's sort of like in layman's terms.
You're probably in the sweet spot, really.
I am, mate, honestly.
You've got it right.
And that's what I'm trying to lean on that as much as possible. So when I've been doing these interviews and stuff in new jobs, that's the kind of buttons that I press, is that I've got everything, and because you can build up your technical background, you can build up knowledge over time, but you can't, it's so much more difficult, I think, to build up soft skills, and I think it's such an underrated value. And so that's why it's something I'm trying to really push.
Is there like a world championships in cyber? Is there like a Is there like
they've got the World Excel Championships. You've seen that?
The World Excel
They're
Championships.
wizards on Excel.
Unbelievable, mind blowing.
Is there like there's no such thing as that, is there? It's like, there's Excel, isn't there? Obviously, you can wizard on it, but there's no like cyber security Olympics.
No, there isn't. So they do these things called capture the flag. I don't know whether they do some tournaments, but like different vendors, they'll do like capture the flag. And some of the big ones, they go off. I don't think they actually get people to like I don't know, a place in sort of like Vegas and then go mad for it. Like you would expect for like esports. But yeah, I mean, those capture the flags, they go quite big. I know one of the lads I used to work with, he used to like smash them, and he would get invited. I think he did like a tournament of champions, like capture the flag event, and he got battered, but he said it was a good learning experience for him. So there are, but it's not like it's not like a huge. Like,
going back to esports though, me and you, my friend, we were ranked in Call of Duty.
Well, this is the grey area, mate, and I don't know.
We were.
We claimed to beat fourth in the world.
We did beat fourth. We did
on a random Wednesday night. But yeah, again, you're just kids, aren't you? You're just playing a game, but like esports and taking it competitively wasn't really that much of a thing.
No, it wasn't.
When you look at the esports model now, it's huge.
And
so many different games, mate. Honestly, and that's the scary bit. And that's why part of me doesn't want to go back to social media, because it's so different now than when we were kids and when we had it. I don't think I could keep up, and that makes me just feel really old.
There's a bloke did a course a while back. He was telling about his lad, and he must have been about 13, 14 years old. He finds it really hard now to so when I was growing up, my mum and dad would be like, right, get 2 hours on the PlayStation or X amount of time, and you've got to come off and you've got to go do whatever. he was saying now he finds it really hard because his lad's like 13, 14. He was playing Fortnite at the time. It's a couple of years back when he was like in his his prime, and he was saying like, well, he needs to get off and do homework and stuff. But then his lad was winning like 2 battle royales over the world. I haven't actually really played it, but he was winning like 250 quid a night on these tournaments.
Jeez.
And his dad's like, "Can you get off?"
Yeah.
And then he'd like, "Yeah, give me like half an hour." He'd come off, and Dad, I just won 250 quid. He's like, "Get back on the fucking game, son. Keep fucking playing." What are you doing?
What are you doing your homework before you lose it?
I'll do homework.
Just like, but it's crazy, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like, and like the average, I can't remember what it was, but I know there's millions and millions of pounds in that the esports, but the average career is so short, isn't it? You're only in there for like 2 or 3 years.
Have you seen those like houses that
the FaZe Clan house? You seen that one?
Mate.
It's
It's
mental.
They've got nutritionists, they've got S&C coaches, they've got chefs.
It's crazy.
And they're all there just like 8 hours a day, isn't it?
But I don't know if we were to go back now and think about Call of Duty and how much we played that game and how much we did play as a collective. Do you think now, if it was right now when we were doing that, we were in that time again, we'd still be doing it and we'd be making some money?
What if we continue to play?
We were pretty good.
I don't think so.
I think we were pretty good at it.
No.
2 sides of the coin here.
Back in the day.
Millionaires, no chance.
We'd be millionaires, I'm sure we would.
Yeah, but I think we look at it now and we go and play.
The T2
we
equals
like
house.
the remastered versions of those, and then what was the last one we played? And you can get top of the leaderboard, but like a couple of games, but you weren't setting the world alight. Do you know what I mean? And I think that's the difference.
Yeah, they sweat it though, don't they?
Yeah, and it's all like the good players are all on computers as opposed to like PlayStation. And reaction times and stuff like that is crazy.
It's so good though. It is so good. I mean, I think esports has got massive, and even like Barcelona have got their own esports team, haven't they, for FIFA? So they've got their own.
Well, there's loads of like professional footballers that have bought into esports teams.
Crazy.
For FIFA mainly, but yeah.
Because we were talking about the other week. We were talking about the Baller League.
Oh yeah.
TM.
Yeah, we were talking about the Baller League, and we were talking about how that is effectively a bunch of YouTubers that have started that. Which
Okay, so I was at the face of it. He didn't start the league, he was at the face of it in the UK, isn't it?
yeah,
I mean, to be fair, they've got loads of like all of that, the managers and stuff like that are like big names like Figo, John Terry, Ian Wright, Gary Lineker, Mick Richards.
My Jam was involved with Alicia Lehman and My Jam have got a team.
yeah. My Jammer is good looking.
I think I watched like the first episode of that, and I'll be honest, it wasn't for me.
No,
I think.
Do you watch normal football? Are you into football as it is?
I think just because our friendship group is so into football, I'll like watch it. I'll watch Match of the Day like every Saturday and just keep up to date with it. Watching a full game sometimes can be a little bit boring.
But I think that with the Baller League, it's probably the way, in my opinion, sport's going to go, isn't it? Because like YouTubers are household names now. So like the Sidemen, for example, I don't know if you, but I grew up watching them. They're like similar age to us, in the teenage years. You grew up watching them, and now Miniminter Simon, he's running one of the teams, and I only bothered watching the league because he put a video out, so I'm starting my own football team. So then watched it and I was like, oh bloody hell, there's loads of people in here, like the debates, one of those lot are in there. I watched them growing up. I was like, actually, I mean, I'm just as invested in them as individuals as I am in the football. Like, I'd never watch normal football ever.
no.
But I watch the Baller League because, and again, it's a different format, isn't it? Like it's slightly different, got different penalty rules, different things for red cards, and just a different take on sport. And I reckon that kids growing up now, the way things are, years ago, people were like, what do you want to do? Get a trade, get a job, and you'd be a bricklayer for your whole life. Our generation is probably the first ones where you sort of hop from different careers. But again, I haven't got kids of my own, but people are telling me that kids coming through school, what do you want to do? You want to be a YouTuber?
Yeah.
I
want to be, do you know what I mean? It's just a different career that's so alien to us.
But imagine a rugby. We were talking about this as well. A rugby Baller League, like a sevens with those like rules
Well,
on
we
it.
were talking about it yesterday, weren't we, about that new global league they want to push off. And I was saying, I was listening to another podcast, and they were saying in India, like the IPL for cricket, they'd want to do something similar for rugby. And it's like a concept of rugby sevens, but I think it's like 9s or 10s. And they've put so much money into it. And from a commercial standpoint, it seems to be like really big. They've got loads of like 7 stars, and they paid a lot of money for it. I don't know how accessible it's going to be for us here in the UK, but everyone's trying to evolve or change the sport in some way for it to be a commercial.
The key to that, I reckon, is making the players characters, like household names. Like, I think the way UK the RFU they get it a little bit wrong is that Do you know, there's bits I saw an interview the other day with Ellis Genge. He said,
the referees.
Have you seen this?
Saw it, yeah.
Keeps
on
getting
Friday,
told off when he
watched
gets told off for getting too riled up and stuff. You just all
Mate.
you're doing there is curbing the entertainment value.
First 5 minutes of the Bristol Bath game on Friday, it had a penalty decision reversed because he was just up in somebody's face.
But you can do that in rugby. But he was saying he's being
targeted every single game. He said he's been
targeted.
told, relax, calm down. But then you sort of lose. You know, he's one of the most well-known rugby players now in the UK just because of he's a bit of a freak athlete, isn't he? But actually, what you're curbing there is you're getting rid of the character that people want to be like and talk about and all the entertainment value. There is such thing as bad news, but but at least people are talking about it. And then that you want to grow the sport. Rugby is dying in the UK.
Yeah. They've sort of let Henry Pollock go with his how he's going. He's sort of the next sort of face of it, but they've let him go and let him do his own thing.
What do you reckon to the incident after the game the other week? You seen where he being
Yeah, he got choked out.
choked out by the neck, and then they're all walking around like holding their necks and stuff like that.
Yeah, again, that is just shithousery. That is rugby at its
I
finest.
don't mind it, mate.
No.
I think it's not common backwards, but look how many people are talking about it.
Exactly, and I think it's you can't get rid of that in rugby. That's part of rugby, and you've got to have those characters. You've got to have those people involved in it, and I think that's where it's got a bit.
Like I said, good or bad, it's being talked about, whether you agree or not.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. Whereas you just look at a normal game and it's not being talked about, you go,
The old school value, but nothing's going to change. The rugby will literally die. They're changing rules. It's player safety stuff like that. The game is so stop-starting now, and
what was that one they did a few years ago? Was that Rugby X? Do you remember that?
Yeah, I do remember that Rugby X.
didn't really take off, then, did it?
No, they tried to do
Again, that was
it
something
in
similar.
Japan and Korea, haven't they?
Right, okay.
Something similar. Because I saw that on, I think I might have seen that on Netflix. There was a little games thing on there that they were doing it on there. But yeah, Rugby X didn't take off. Because that was inside and it was like 5.
But do you think that was too early for its time? You look at all of that, like I said, the different formats that come in.
Potentially.
That was good for like 5-6 years ago, I think.
I think, and again, to go for me, it's the same point, but if you've had someone like KSI being the face of that, it's got nothing to do with it.
Yeah.
People will be interested just because of him as an individual.
Yeah, I think, personally, I think sevens is the way forward for rugby in terms of
Well, I think even
promotion of the game. It is dying, but what I mean is that's the way forward to advertise rugby and to get this generation involved in rugby, because it's a short span of time rather than, you've only got 3 seconds to grab someone's attention at the moment. So if you've got a long game that's lasting 80 minutes and people are just kicking the ball to each other, that's going to be pretty boring to watch. But if you were doing like run it straight,
Well, that's come under fire recently as well.
Well, somebody died.
Yeah, it's crazy,
Yeah.
isn't it? Wow. It's
mental.
only a matter of time though. That event is bonkers, mate.
Some of those boys, mate,
Absolute
are huge.
mutants.
Massive. They're unbelievable, aren't they?
Oh yeah, it's definitely a lack of safety protocol around there. But like I said, it's entertaining for like 30 seconds.
But then you've only got to look at that fucking slap.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
it's
power
constant,
slap.
Yeah.
Power slap that's still going, and people are getting fucking knocked out cold with
Full on
that.
drilled, aren't they?
Like full on drilled. Have you seen that lady's face that like
It
changes?
changes, like deforms post slap.
Yeah.
She like changes race.
Yeah, she knows.
She like-
Genuinely, she's looking at the camera and then she just changes like race.
Yeah, it's crazy. I can't really explain. You have to watch it. We'll find after this.
Yeah, we'll find it after this. One question I did want to ask you on the pod, because I've asked Jonah it before, is what sport would you have wanted to do if you could do it at the top level? So if you were like,
Oh, I think I heard this the other week.
yeah, so if you were at the pinnacle of rugby,
Tiddlywinks.
if you were the pinnacle of rugby, what sport would you leave to go to do the pinnacle of? Like Lewis Rees-Zammit leaving to go and do NFL. What sport would you leave to go and do?
Darts.
Darts.
I love my darts, mate.
As
I'll
in
be another Gerwin Price 2.0.
Jack Littler.
Jack Lowe. Darts. I love that.
You know I love my darts.
I do, but is that genuinely the one that you go to?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think so. Like, if you played rugby and we've played it at whatever level, my body's broken. Like, if you're a professional, I think as soon as they stop, they must just crumble within like years. And I think if you go to a nice little soft sport like darts, where there's not as much physical pressure, it's a growing sport. I think there's going to be a lot more money involved in it. It's a short format.
Yeah.
The crowd's buzzing.
Like it.
And I think if you go from rugby to darts, I think the excitement around it, I think it's so much more than rugby. You
There's
probably
a
go
Welsh,
to-
isn't there? There's a Welsh darts player who played rugby professionally.
Yeah, Gerwin
So-
Brass.
that's the one.
Yeah.
Sorry, mate.
Yeah.
Don't know names.
Jack knows a lot about darts.
Watch it every week.
Yeah, he does watch it every week. He absolutely loves it. But again, what title? So this is the question I asked him as well. What title would you like to hold? So, like, would you want to be the fastest man in the world? Would you want to be the strongest man in the world? Would you want to be
It's definitely not going to be the fittest man.
the world's fastest
World's
clapper?
fastest clapper.
Which Jonah wanted to be the world's fastest
I
clapper.
still can't clap, mate. My finger's still bad.
Your fingers.
Jack
are-
reckons he can do it really quickly, you know.
Nah, no, I just know the techniques like that, isn't it?
No, you've seen the top one now. So the guy does it, and he does like 4 in 1.
Gosh.
Like it's like
claps in
3.
one.
I can't do it.
Look at that, he's going.
I
He's
can't do
getting
it.
the
It's too
technique.
painful, mate. But it's like 1,000 claps in a minute now. It's incredible. I'll show you after this.
That is mental. What title would you want to have? Obviously, you want to do darts, so potentially world champion in darts, but that's not a great title. What title would you want to be? Would you want to be the fastest person in the world?
I don't know. I'm the fastest man in BBS.
Oh! You can't just jab that in. You're definitely not.
Oh yeah.
Not now. Not in your current shape. You can't run more than 5 meters.
Mate, I'm still over 15 minutes, I think.
15 meters.
15 meters.
I'll blow out.
Blow out after.
I mean, it's ironic because I'm really unfit, but I think fittest person in the world sounds really cool.
As in like CrossFit.
Yeah, well, yeah, CrossFit. We'll go CrossFit.
So you
Like fittest, like you watch those like
The
Netflix
title.
documentaries, like fittest on earth.
yeah,
Like,
yeah.
like a Matt Fraser. Like you can't take that away from somebody, can you?
No, that is very true actually. I hadn't even thought about that. The fittest on the because that's the title they get given, isn't it?
Planet.
That's what title they get given. Is the
And
fittest
it's,
on the
yeah,
planet.
it's like a.
So they are the fittest on the planet.
Oh.
Have you seen that video?
It's
recently?
sport specific, isn't it? That's the thing. Like,
Who's the Israeli? I can't remember his name. The MMA fighter who goes and does a video with David Goggins recently. Let me find his name.
Oh, the
He's from the UK, isn't he?
yeah. I know you're on about. But Jonah, over to you to finish it.
2 claps this on 3. 1, 2, 3.